All right, back to the third episode, right?
Yeah, episode 3.
Yeah, episode 3. My background is a little bit of a mess because I just came home after like a week long, 2 different city trip, but that's okay. Cool. Yeah. So Eddie, what do we have for our listeners today?
Yeah, today for episode 3, this one we have a little special topic on real estate. If you are someone that is looking to buy your first home or your first investment property, I hope this episode can enlighten you and inform you to make the best decision moving forward. So, before we go into our topic for today, we're going to start with our weekly updates like we always do.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can go ahead and go first.
Yeah.
Since we didn't have an episode last week, I guess it'll be like a 2 week update for us. But for me, I guess one thing that I realized with all the stuff that's going on in my life, I felt like it's been kind of like a little overwhelming. Just had a lot on
Mm-hmm.
my plate lately and realized that I need
Mm-hmm.
help. And I've
Oh.
always been kind of like a lone wolf and did things all by myself. And I think I need to get outside of that. So I actually started interviewing for a position to kind of help me out. It's first started as like an assistant, a work or personal assistant, and then I started interviewing. I was like, okay, this is weird. I need to like transform this role a little bit. So now it's kind of like a business operations support analyst kind of role. I'm still kind of experimenting, interviewing a bunch of different people and just trying to see who the right fit is. But basically, what I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking for in this person is to help me with all my ventures in tech consulting, the real estate project that I'm trying to do, the content and the filming, and then also any personal stuff that I have, like errands going on at home. I know that's like a lot to ask of one person, and I didn't really know how to like post this job opportunity and like present it. But I think I'm just kind of learning throughout the process and just doing it. Before it was just kind of overwhelming, and I was just planning and trying to see who I can, like try to get and like, yeah, I don't know. But I've been trying to do that. Everything else has been going good. Been training as per usual, getting my lifts in for the week. Did place second in a tournament last week, so was pretty happy with how I played there. But yeah, that's about it for my weekly update.
Dang. I feel like as you were sharing your update, we definitely need an episode on virtual assistants, executive assistants. And
That'd be
maybe
nice.
that's like something I can talk about for next week, since
hmm
today is kind of like your expert topic. But yeah, that's super cool. I mean, it sounds like you're looking for someone like local, right? Like someone in person.
Yeah, someone that can like
Yeah.
meet up with me and help me out with things
Right,
that
right,
are,
right.
yeah, exactly. Film for me
Where did
and
you
stuff.
post the where did you post the job posting?
I originally posted it on Nextdoor, the app,
Uh-huh.
which is like a good
Wow.
app for like finding handymen and like contractors. But then I realized I kind of want people who are a little more professional. Like I can't just go off of like a name and a profile. Like I need to see like a resume and what they've done
Hmm.
and seeing what their experiences are. So
Yeah.
I ended up posting on Indeed. And then that actually got me a lot of
Okay.
applicants to comb through.
Did you find anybody that's like decent?
Yes, I've talked to a few people that I've really liked, and it's tough to find someone who checks all the boxes. So I don't know
Yeah.
if it needs to be separate, like find someone for content and then find someone for like
Mm.
the project management and find someone for tech consulting. But it's just like my budget doesn't really do that. So I guess what I'm trying to do is consolidate it and present it as like a learning and grow your skills opportunity. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep interviewing and seeing.
Yeah. I actually cannot remember what 2 weeks ago looked like because I had a very, very long and eventful and like crazy past week. But honestly, I had a really awesome week. Pretty tired. Did not get nearly as much rest as I normally do. But Sunday, my team, the three of us, went to Vegas, landed in Vegas for the annual Braze Forge conference.
Mm.
I got presented my community leader of the year award, which was, awesome and lots of opportunities and things to think about there. We did a little bit of gambling. We talked to some customers and just overall like had a lot of fun and also just, did a lot of like good things for the business, which was great. Then we came back, then I hosted a like, a small party for all the kind of Asian American like entrepreneurs slash like tech workers. A lot of friends that I've kind of met kind of all over the place from the gym, from the dog park, from run clubs. I don't know, like we're meeting people in the weirdest places, all like really good people. And then we had our 36-hour hackathon. We actually successfully built an app in 36 hours and it's on our phones. And that was
Whoa.
and it uses
Okay.
AI. Like there's a lot of things we were trying to do, but literally built a phone or for built an app, not a phone, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty dope.
So, like after doing that, and a lot of it was like vibe coding plus using a lot of our technical knowledge. So yeah, just feeling very like feels like we've opened up so many more doors for like new opportunities.
Mhm.
And I think all three of us have a lot on our minds, but tonight we'll get some rest, but still have a lot of reflecting to do. So yeah, so much to think about.
Gotcha. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the
Yeah.
post on the hackathon. It looked very interesting, and the Airbnb
Yeah.
looked sick too.
Airbnb was honestly beautiful and it was perfect. I might go back to that Airbnb several times. Like it was like the best spot for views, motivation, hanging out, and like yeah.
Was it that Airbnb that you were talking about in Venice Beach, or is this a different
Yeah,
one?
yeah, yeah, yeah. This is
Okay,
that one.
gotcha. Did you
Yeah.
do a tour of it? Because I remember you did a video about doing it, but I didn't get to see inside of it, so I was curious if you
Dude,
were.
yeah. I was gonna, but we literally just had no time. Like we checked in so late on Wednesday night, so there was no sun, so it was like dark. And then
Mhm.
Thursday we were just getting busy getting ready for the party all day. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday I had no time because we were just starting our hackathon. So hopefully I go back to that Airbnb at some point and I'll get some good footage.
Mm, gotcha.
Yeah. So
Nice.
all right. So I'm ready to hear all about your real estate, your landlord journey, and ask you a bunch of questions and hear about your experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I guess I'll start with like my recent, I don't know what I've been going through recently. I know maybe in the past episodes, I kind of talked about how like I felt like real estate wasn't for me and I was like thinking about selling and just kind of getting it off my hands. And I think I've come to the conclusion. Well, I talked to like several people and one of them being my real estate agent. He's like super transparent and I just like I like how he thinks and where his mind's at. And he kind of just told me like, dude, like with multi units, especially with the one that I had, it was such a good deal, you know? At the time, I mean, we
Yeah.
all like knew that it was a good deal, but I think for me when I was going through it, like all the renovations, all the headache, the project management and, working with the GC to get everything done, I think it just kind of like, I don't know, turned me off with the whole thing. And when we finally got units one and two rented out and done, it was just like a huge relief. But then we still have one more unit, which is the basement to get done. And
Mhm.
that just felt like a whole, like, I don't know, like I just needed a break and I wasn't ready to
Yeah.
go into it right away. And yeah, I think now this is like kind of now where I still got to get the basement done. I was thinking about selling the multi unit and like, just getting it off my hands. But after talking to Seb, my real estate agent, he just kind of like put some sense into me. And obviously, I think with multi units, it's always going to be a really good long term investment. They grow, usually pretty well year over year. And then he actually suggested that I should sell my townhome. And I never really thought about
Plot
selling.
twist.
Yeah, I never really
Yeah.
thought about selling the townhome because I love it, like, I love this place, like,
Yeah. Your place is
Kate and I really
beautiful.
yeah, Kate and I really made this, like, our home, we love the area, like, Morton Grove's amazing. It's 20 minutes from the city without traffic, of course, and then, like, so close to
Hmm.
all the other burbs that we go to, like Schaumburg and, Naperville. So that definitely made me think, like, okay, like, that's like, if we were to move within the next year or 2, I think we would either sell the MG townhome just because kinda right. He also mentioned that townhomes don't really grow as much year over year. I mean, usually that's kinda how it is with, like, single family attached homes. But yeah, I mean, I guess, like, he also reminded me that I'm in a good spot. Like, I don't have to stress out
Yeah.
about that right now, and, like,
Right.
whatever
Right.
option I go, like, I'll be fine, and he's right. I think if anything, I would wanna keep the NG home and maybe just rent it out. It just wouldn't cash flow as much, which makes sense to maybe sell it if I do wanna buy another place. But I think if we're gonna move away for, like, a year or 2 and maybe rent something out, it probably wouldn't make sense. Yeah, I guess with the townhome, like, we'll see. I think if anything, I should keep the multi-unit and just keep going because I made it this far and just
Hmm.
finish strong. Because right now, the tenants are
Yeah.
great, the cash flow is good so far. I mean, it's not like I'm profiting anything yet. It's just netting the mortgage so far, which
Yeah.
is way better than,
Right.
eating the mortgage and on top of that, paying renovation costs. So once I get that basement done,
Exactly.
It's just like the longer I keep this property, like the better it's gonna be for me later on. So it's gonna be like a little bit of like a nest egg for me. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like where I'm at with the whole real estate journey so far. Yeah, I mean, I just got to finish strong. I think I just got discouraged with
Yeah.
the whole process.
Yeah, it sounds like you're like back on track with like finishing strong, getting back into that kind of work mode. And then one question before we like before I start asking from the beginning is why wouldn't you just rent out your townhome instead of selling it? Um like
Yeah,
you
no, I
mentioned it doesn't appreciate well, but yeah, can you just use it as a cash flow property?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I can definitely rent it out as much as like the mortgages, but like HOA has been kind of crazy just because we've been having this whole ordeal with our rooftop decks and we've like our
Uh,
budget just got way past blown and our reserves got depleted because of the rooftop deck like repairs. And I just realized the HOA of the fees keep
Jeez.
increasing. It's just gonna keep eating at any profit that I could make. And it's only one door too. You know, so it's like three doors as opposed to one door. It's just kind of
Mm,
like if I were to sell something, it'd make more sense to sell the townhome. That's just kind of where I was at with that. I can definitely rent it out. I'm not going to profit as much and I can just continue to build equity and just
gotcha.
keep it, you know? But I think for like
Gotcha,
headache's sake,
gotcha.
yeah, I think it'd just be easier to sell it if I want to buy like a more permanent home. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, maybe I'll buy it from you.
It is a nice
Get the headache off your hands.
Hey, yo, it is a nice place. It
Yeah,
really
yeah,
is.
yeah. Okay.
That's why I
So
don't even wanna sell it. That's the thing. It's like kinda sentimental to me.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
right,
'cause
right. It's your first home. It's a nice home.
yeah, and it's an end unit too in a really nice neighborhood, rooftop deck.
Yeah.
I like, now that I'm talking about it, I don't think I wanna sell it, but,
So you kind of just gave us like a general rundown of how you're feeling and kind of what you went through for both properties. Let's actually start from the beginning to kind of give our listeners more of that timeline context.
mhm.
And then if we're gonna go in order, let's talk about your Morton Grove townhome.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I think what might be a good place to start is can you tell us when you bought it, maybe how much you put down at the
Mhm.
time and your interest rate, and what motivated you to buy a property at that time?
Yeah. So I guess I'll start a little bit before that. Right after
Okay.
college, yeah, right after college, I lived with my parents for a little
Mhm.
bit, which was financially the best decision I've ever made. Just because obviously
Mhm.
I didn't have to pay rent, and all the money that I was making, I think around like 80% of it, I just invested in the
Mhm.
stock market. I think that
Yeah.
time, like I studied finance and I was really like an active portfolio investor, and I was just
Mhm.
investing in all these different stocks and so that was around like 2018 to 2020. And then
Yeah.
obviously COVID, like stock market just boomed. And so that was kind of like, okay, wow, now like I can like, I sold some of it. And now I was like, wow, I can actually buy my first place. So
Yeah.
2021, I started my search and I originally wanted to actually buy a place in the city. But looking for places in the city is so discouraging with a budget of like 400 to 500K, and it's
Yeah.
like the things that we could get were usually like a really small 1200, 1500 square foot 1 to 2 bedroom and 2 bath like condo. And I don't know, it just like wasn't like any place that we checked out, it just wasn't doing it for me. And
Yeah.
then we started actually looking in the burbs, Skokie, like Glenview, and then I saw this place, this MG home that I'm in now on Redfin. And I sent it to my
Mm.
agent. And he's like, let's go check it out now, or like today or tomorrow. Me and Kate ended up checking it out and like we fell in love with it. Like the
Wow.
old owner actually moved to Michigan. So everything was moved out already and it was sitting on the market for like 30 days around.
Okay.
And honestly, like it just checked all the boxes. It was way more space
Yeah.
than me and Kate needed, obviously, but I like for like the price range and how much like the timing of it, it was just perfect. And so we put an
Yeah.
offer on it, 435 with like some seller credit of like 5 to 10K. I can't remember the exact like numbers. And then they actually
Mhm.
accepted it. And
Hmm.
so the final purchase went through on November 11th actually. My closing date 11th and that's my birthday. And so that was actually kind of like a
Yeah.
Like a little birthday gift for myself. We ended up moving in November 12th. So yeah, that was
Another
honestly like
emotional attachment.
yeah, yeah, honestly. Yeah. It worked out great. And we moved in November 2021, and then ever since then, like, we just made it our homes. Like, we did a lot of projects on our own. I don't think we hired any contractors. Like, we painted, like, the kitchen cabinets. Like, decorated a lot of things, and my fiancée, Kate, just went to Home Goods, like, every weekend and got new things. So, yeah, no, the place looks amazing now, and we have a
Yeah.
rooftop deck, and, we have a two-car garage. This home was just, like, the best, like, first home, I don't know, that, like, I could ever imagine getting. It was
Yeah.
just, it was like my dream home, and, like, Morton Grove, I've always, like I mean, I grew up in Morton Grove, so it was just kinda, like, for me, a no-brainer. I was close to my parents, and I know the neighborhood really well. There's a
Right,
park
right.
really close by that I could take my dog to, and, yeah. No, that was, like, my process for MG home.
And then what was the interest rate that you got at the time?
Oh, yeah, interest rate was 3.25. So I remember, like, this was after, like, the whole COVID boom where everyone was buying things
Uh-huh.
at 2, and so around
Uh-huh.
2021, that's when it started to raise, like, 3.25, and I think I got
Uh-huh.
it just before it just, like, shot back up. So,
Yeah,
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 I got
yeah.
lucky I got lucky with that
Which
timing.
like 3.25 is still historically
Very
really good
yeah, very
and
low.
like still like better than right, like you said, it shot back up, so much better than like what it is today, right? What is it like what's like the mortgage rate right now?
I think
Are we still in
last
the
I
6, maybe 7?
Yeah, I think it's 6, 7 to 8 around, yeah, and then I forgot to
Yeah.
mention I only put 5% down because it was, like, a first time
Okay.
home buyer, like, I
Mm.
don't know, caveat that I took advantage of because
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
time, it just didn't make sense to liquidate, like, all my stocks. It was just kinda opportunity
Yeah.
costs at that time, and,
Yeah.
I was able to, afford the higher monthly mortgage, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which 5% of 435K, if my math teacher skills are still there, 21.5K around there.
Is it 21.5K?
Does
I
that sound
think I
about right?
yeah, that's close. I think it was, like, 26. Is that
Okay,
wrong?
okay.
Right? Let me
No, I rounded it to 4,300,
mhm,
and that should be 21.5.
5? Alright, let me see if you're
Yeah.
right. Because I know it was around, like, 21 to 26, but I don't know why 26 is, like, the number that I'm remembering. I could be wrong.
Well, like,
Alright,
that's just a down payment. You're probably maybe I'm sure there were
true.
other fees associated with it.
Math teacher.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't see it because it's wow, you're a beast. Yeah, no, I think it was around 21K, and I think I'm thinking 26 because of, like, closing, and then I also got
Mhm.
closing credit. Because closing costs, it's crazy. It's like 8 to 10 grand. It's crazy what these title companies are making off just
Right,
getting you to
right.
sign documents. Yeah. So I think closing
Yeah.
costs was around, like, 7 to 10 grand, and then I got 5K in seller's credit. So 26
Gotcha.
was, like,
Gotcha,
my
gotcha.
final closing cost that I ended up paying to
Yeah.
own a home, which is crazy. I know I don't own
Right.
it, Bank does, but
Still,
yeah.
that's not that bad. Like, I mean, at our age, in the income that we're making now, like, to put down 26K to get your townhome, like, is your mortgage payment.
Now my mortgage payment is around 3 grand, 3K, and then HOA is around 300 right now.
Oh, your mortgage is actually a little bit more than I expected, but that makes sense because you put so little down.
Yep, exactly, yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
and
I see,
I
I see, I
was
see.
I was really happy, like, about my, like, I don't know, 5% because I didn't wanna sell, like, most of my stocks. Like, a lot of people would have
Yeah.
tried to put, like, 20% down and sell, like, I don't know.
Right, right.
At that time, I was so happy with just selling, like, 21 or 26 grand. Like, I didn't have
Yeah.
to sell it, like, all of it to just put
Yeah.
20% down, which is, like, yeah, I don't know. I'd rather have it grow in the stock market and then, obviously the interest that I'm paying, I get to write that off on my taxes. Yeah, there was just like a lot of like numbers I remember researching and like calculating
Yeah.
to make sure that 5% makes sense. A lot of people will like tell you, I remember my dad, I think this is like old school because they don't understand like opportunity costs and what your money
Right.
can do in other places like high yield or
Yeah.
stock market.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, "What? Like, why are you going 5%? Like you're gonna
Mhm,
pay
mhm.
so much interest." And it's like, yeah, but like I think at that time I was also thinking like I was only gonna live here for a year or two and then rent it out. but I think buying this as a rental wasn't really smart. I think at the time I was just trying to justify my purchase. I just wanted to buy something and not waste money on rent. I guess back then it made sense because rates were so low and I had the money to do it too. Uh,
So you lived there for about 4 years at this point, and you've been making your monthly mortgage payments. Did you do any renovation on the Morton Grove house?
so the only renovations we did was the kitchen. We just repainted the
Okay.
cabinets, which was like
Okay.
such an ordeal. It was so much work. And then also we got our
Yeah.
rooftop deck replaced because we had to because of the
Okay.
roofing
Okay.
issues.
Gotcha.
Other than that, no, we didn't do any like major renovations because it was relatively
Mhm.
new construction, like 2012 it was built.
Yeah.
So things were like outdated, but didn't really need to be replaced, which was nice.
Yeah. What is like your so you mentioned like thinking about selling it. Let's say you did sell it. What would that look like? Like how much has your home appreciated since you bought it? And say you sold it at, an amount that you think is the right appreciation price. What is that when you sell it? How much of that goes back to you? Like would you just get a big fat check from the bank and how much of that amount would it be?
Yeah, no, good question. So I recently did an assessment because I don't know if you're familiar with PMI. I was trying to get
Mhm.
rid of PMI because you
Right,
get
right, right.
charged PMI if you put less than 20%. It's just like
Mhm.
private mortgage insurance.
That's if you own less than 20% of your home, right?
Yep, yep. Right now I
Okay.
do. Right now I own 17% of it because
Mhm,
I did the assessment and it came back as 480, which is
mhm,
amazing because I bought the place
mhm.
for 435. So
Yeah.
obviously, I don't know if I can actually sell it for that number. Maybe I can after a few months or so if I put it up for
Mhm.
sale. But if I did sell it for that number, 480, and I think total ownership is around 17%, I should own around like three. I should have around like 380 or 390 left on the mortgage. So
Mhm.
I think if anything, if I do go throughout the process, I would get a check around like 80 to 90K net if I
Okay.
sold it for 380. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
480.
then yeah, 480, sorry.
Yeah.
And then I would have to pay taxes on that gain, basically.
Oh.
Yeah. Unless I do that
Unless
exchange and buy
unless you
a
buy
different
for
home.
another home, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. I think it's called the 10 something exchange.
10
1026.
something,
Yeah.
1026,
No, it
1031.
doesn't
Yeah.
sound right. 1031.
1031, is
That
that what it is?
that sounds right. I guess here.
Yeah.
Quick Google search. Yep, 1031.
1031, yeah.
Gotcha. So
Mhm.
it's kinda like because it's like it's a little math is weird because you bought it at 435, but now there's a different value. But it's pretty much like how much of your home do you own at what percent of your home do you own at 435? And when you sell it at 480, you keep that same percentage. Yeah.
Yeah, unless your home obviously, because the home appreciated, you would just
Right, right,
net
right.
whatever it grew. Yeah, because when I bought
Yeah.
it, I only owned 5% of it because that's how much I put down. And
Mhm.
then because it was valued at 480, that just grew my equity essentially. So however much equity I had, that
Yeah.
17% is basically what I would net out ideally if I sold it for the price that it assessed at. Yeah,
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
yeah.
And then I was gonna ask one last question about loans, but honestly, maybe I'll leave that research to myself because I was gonna ask like of your 3,000 mortgage payment, how much of it goes towards principal and how much of it goes towards paying off the interest? And I think this is how student loans work too. Like every payment you make, part of it goes to the interest, part of it goes to the principal.
Yeah,
Um,
and
I
yeah,
guess
with
do
the
you know how
30.
that works? Yeah.
Yeah, with the 30-year loan, and I don't know like the exact numbers, but like there's that whole amortization table. Obviously,
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
beginning, yeah, you're paying more interest than the principal balance,
Yeah.
which sucks. And then, so I guess it's split up into three things: principal balance, interest, and taxes. Taxes is fucking crazy in Cook County. I think taxes I'm paying around like 1K a month, like
Yeah.
1,100, and insane.
That's
Interest
that's
is like
crazy.
another 1,000,
Yeah.
which yeah, that's like the 2,000 of it, and then the rest is like principal balance, which is like only like maybe
Gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
700 to 1,000 per month, and then that number keeps increasing as you keep
My
making more
gosh.
payments and get, longer
Right.
in your payment cycle, which sucks because
But then
property
it's the
taxes,
Cook
it's
County
just gonna
taxes stay the same.
Cook County taxes actually increase
My
because it
gosh.
goes off of your assessed value, which is always growing, I think, because it keeps growing on my end, like, on my
Okay,
mortgage
okay,
thing.
okay.
Yeah.
But then your interest payments go down over time, so then more the remainder, I guess, goes towards your principal balance. But if your property taxes are going up, then like it's like one goes up, one goes down, and one stays the same. So it's like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, I know. Maybe owning the home
Yeah.
isn't the way to go.
Okay, so then now let's move on to your multi-unit property, which honestly came like out of nowhere because you and I were doing our normal weekly updates, and I feel like one day you're like, "Dude, I'm gonna go look at a multi-unit property." I'm like, "Dude, that's like so out of nowhere, so out of the blue," and then like the next month you had it at that point. So like, how did that happen, and like, what was your thought process? And tell us about that.
Yeah, I think I've always wanted to go into real estate investing, and multi-unit
Uh huh.
investing was the next step for me. And I think at that
Mhm.
time, I just had a lot of money saved up and a lot in my high
Mhm.
yield saving account and obviously my stock
Mhm.
market portfolio. And I was like, I think it's time to kind of diversify my portfolio, my investing portfolio. And I thought
Mhm.
multifamily or a multi-unit would be like the perfect next step. And you know me, when I jump into something, I go like 150%, you know?
Sure.
And when I started that journey, I just reached out to my real estate agent that helped me buy my home. Seb, he's amazing. He just helped me out
Mhm.
throughout the whole process. His dad actually owns a few too. So he just like knew like, what to look out for. And
Yeah.
obviously, um, it actually was like a really lucky like how it happened. Honestly, I remember it happened so quick, and usually it's not like that. I remember my
Mhm.
real estate agent telling me like, "Wow, people usually go through looking at like 20 to 30 properties without getting any luck in the city of finding like a really good multi-unit to invest into." I think this was like my third or fourth multi-unit that I looked at, and I didn't think I was gonna get it because when we looked at it, we walked in and we're like, wow, this is a lot of space. Obviously, it's an old building, but we saw a lot of
Mhm.
potential in it, especially at the price
Yeah.
point and the area too. And there was two offers that were higher than us. So we offered like 530, and the original
Mhm.
offer or the listing price was around 480, 490. So we definitely
Mhm.
obviously want to offer more just because we knew there was a lot of other offers. Someone actually, the first person that was the highest, offered 100K over asking, which is crazy. And so that
Yeah,
first
that's
person
crazy. Yeah.
ended up going through the home inspection and then backing out for like a really bogus reason. He said because of like the cloth wiring, which a lot of old
Mhm.
buildings have. It's not like a huge deal. A lot of people try to get it replaced. You don't have to. It really depends. There is no right answer. There is code, of course, but code changes like every year. But anyways, he ended up backing
Yeah.
out, and they tried to go to the second highest offer, who offered like 80K over asking. But that guy was already
Mhm.
under contract with another multi-unit. And then so number three,
Mhm.
us, we came into the picture, and yeah, it just worked out. It's crazy because I remember just thinking like, "Oh, like, my mind was already past it." Like, I didn't think I had a
Yeah.
chance with this building, and obviously
Yeah.
with all these offers and, like, how much traction it got, like, it was definitely, like, a good opportunity, like, and
Mhm.
once we went through the process, the closing was annoying because the day that we were supposed to close,
Mhm.
the seller actually backed out right when I was in the title office. I walked into the title office to sign all the papers,
What?
and she backed out.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then the lawyers were so upset. I was super calm. Like the lawyer was
Huh.
like, dude, I've never seen anyone so calm in your situation. I was like, yeah, I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's like it is what it is, like if it doesn't work out, whatever. But I was like upset too, because like it was a good
Yeah.
opportunity, and I was like, dang, like maybe it was too good to be true. She
Mhm.
backed out because apparently her accountant was like, you're gonna have to pay taxes on like 500K. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Like 500K is how much the building was worth, but you're not
Uh-huh.
paying taxes on, what you sell it for. You pay taxes on what you gained on it. You know what I mean? I think she just had like she just got huge like misinformation fed to her from our accountant and she
Mhm.
got scared and backed out or tried to back out. And so
Mhm.
her lawyer was like apologizing to us and our lawyer was like super mad, which I liked, you know, he was fighting for me, which I didn't mind. He was saying how
Yeah.
disrespectful that was and it really was. Like I literally walked into the title office ready to
Mhm.
like cuz I was super patient with them throughout the whole process. I finished all my stuff like pretty much on time, maybe even early per se, and they
Mhm.
like dragged their feet on a lot of things that we were requiring. Obviously, it's funny because it's a two flat, right? With an in law, which is technically an illegal unit, which is the basement unit. And
Yeah.
they had a kitchen in the basement unit, which is like, you're not supposed to do that. And so when the appraiser came, they actually had to take out like the gas stove temporarily
Which is
because
crazy. Yeah.
the appraiser won't like, you know, I don't know, pass it, I guess, per se, if he saw that. And it's so funny because they
Yeah.
replaced it with like a little tiny mini fridge and it's so obvious like what was there
Yeah.
before. But it's just like there's so many ways around things, you know, especially
Huh.
yeah, with the real estate world and the appraisals and getting loans. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting a little off topic. So, yep, went through the appraisal and everything. That whole mishap with closing got figured out, and we ended up closing maybe like a week after we figured everything out, and the seller came to her senses. And so that was the first hurdle, closing, obviously.
Mhm.
After that, my God, like dealing with the tenants moving out, it was a nightmare because they've
Yeah.
been living there for so long. Luckily, Unit 1 was
Yeah.
kinda, like, pristine. An old lady lived there, she's super nice and kept it
Mhm.
clean. Unit 2 was, like, a family of, 2 boys around the age of, like, 5 to 10. They were, like, so messy. There was, like, mice
Yeah.
in it, and it was just so dirty, and they took so long to move out, you know, like, they kept on saying, "Oh, we're waiting to close on a different place," but it's kept on getting delayed and delayed, and it was delaying my
Mhm.
process of like getting renovations done and clearing it out. And yeah, they ended up moving out like 2 or 3 months after they said that they would. So that was like a pain. Like I had to pay, obviously,
Yeah.
and they were like paying really low, dirt cheap rent, you know, just because the old seller was their family. And
Yeah.
what they were paying was nowhere near how much my mortgage was costing because I bought
Uh,
it, yeah, 5% down at a way higher price point too. And so
right, right, right.
yeah, there was just so many things adding up, and in the beginning, like, it was super overwhelming, but I was, like, determined, you know, like, I wasn't defeated at that point at all, like, it was
Yeah.
definitely after, I don't know, like, 3 or 4 months where I felt defeated, but, I mean, I
Yeah.
was just trying to battle through and figure everything out, and, yeah,
Yeah.
finally, when, like, the tenants moved out, I hired a GC, Kenny, amazing dude, man, he just made my life so much easier, and originally, I wanted to gut the place
Yeah.
and like install HVAC, do everything right, follow the code. But then that was just way too costly. And I just had to look at other options. And I think the best option was just to
Yeah.
do not bare minimum, but get it ready for rental as soon as possible. Just
Yeah.
because like gutting the whole place and trying to, I think that's just the problem with me. Like I'm kind of like a perfectionist. I wanted to do things right, which like
Mhm.
again, my real estate agent kind of just like kinda smacked me on the head and said like, "Yo, you don't need to do all that. Like, forget HVAC, forget
Yeah.
like, you know, plumbing and redoing plumbing." It's like redoing all that, I think would have been around 300 grand, what I wanted to do
Oh
originally.
my
And I was
yeah.
like, "Seb, like, I can't do this. Like, I need to sell this place." And he's like, "Dude,
Yeah.
you don't have to do all that. Like, stop."
Yeah.
Like, and then he's like, "Let me call my friend," obviously his fiance's brother, the Kenny, the contractor, and let's see what he says about the place. And Kenny
Yeah.
just kind of came in and gave me the walkthrough. I told him what I wanted to
Mhm.
do. And he was like, "Yeah, I get why you want to do that, but you don't need to do that. You know, just get it
Mhm.
ready for rental." And so
Yeah.
we went a different route. Kenny gave me an estimate on renovating unit 1 and 2, redoing the bathrooms completely, just gutting that, and then just doing touch ups like staining the floors, redoing the walls, painting, like touching up the kitchen. Ultimately,
Yeah.
we did a change order to redo the kitchen in unit 2 because it was just really bad. Originally, we
Yeah,
just
yeah,
were
yeah.
just trying to do some cookie cutter shit and I don't know, do what we can. Yeah, I mean, that whole process taught me so much. I think bringing in Kenny was the best decision at that time, just so I could focus on my consulting. But
Mhm.
also, that price point that he was charging me for, both units and the project that he was doing was a little high and I couldn't afford it at that time. I
Hmm.
could do it at like, monthly installments, of course. And so that's when I just focused on my consulting work and did as much billable hours as possible.
Uh,
Yeah, at that time, I think Kenny, the original project and what we discussed turned out to be around 80 to 90 grand
mhm.
around. And that was a lot. Yeah. I mean, it needed to be done, but I'm happy that I only put 5% down. I knew I had to do renovations, but that 80 to 90 grand sounded way
Yeah.
better than 300 grand of doing like a full gut rehab. And I think I was a little
Yeah,
ambitious.
yeah,
I
yeah.
thought I was going to do all the GCing myself, but Seb kind of told me, like, dude, like, let a professional do it first and then learn from that. Because I think if I did it by myself,
Right.
I would have spread myself like way too thin. I was able to just let Kenny do his thing. And obviously, his expertise was amazing at that time because he's dealt with those kind of homes and has done so many of those homes before. Whereas I was able to just focus on my consulting work, bill as many hours to pay for the renovations projects. Yeah. And then we had to do like a change order to redo the kitchen in unit two. So that definitely added into it too. So,
So I actually want to go back quite a bit to the start of this multi-unit discussion,
mhm,
and I'll sprinkle in some questions from everything you shared so far.
okay.
So going all the way back to where you had your offers in, when a seller has multiple offers, there's no like the order doesn't matter. Like first come first serve is not really a thing, right? And the seller just gets to choose between all the offers that they have. Is that right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, and typically the seller doesn't always have to go with the highest offer. That's obviously like kind of like a
Hmm.
no-brainer to go with the highest offer, but
Hmm.
usually they want to go with
Hmm.
someone that they kind of trust and think that will follow through
Hmm.
on the whole process. Because the buying and
Sure.
like closing process is super stressful and it's a lot. And if
Yeah.
they think that
Yeah.
your like offer is a little too good to be true, they're going to take that into account as well. So a lot of it is like how you present yourself. I think Seb was really good. Seb is really good at like building rapport and a lot of people like him. Like, and I think he is like a
Mm,
big reason why I was able to get that multi unit and I don't know, just get it to work too. Cause yeah, it
yeah.
really depends on like the person. People are so specific too. Yeah.
So when potential buyers put in an offer, does it cost anything to put in an offer?
They will offer like earnest money, but no, it doesn't cost money to put an offer unless it gets accepted. So technically there are so many like things around it where you can kind of back out of a contract, but when you're under
Mhm.
contract, that's when it will cost you money if you put in earnest money, which is like
Gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, you know what earnest money is, right? I guess for the viewers, earnest money is just money to give, the seller upfront to make them know or let them know that you're serious, and it's just like a reason to
Mm,
stay in the deal and kind of complete the deal too.
yeah. So for your offer, you said it was like 50K above asking price?
My offer was around 40K above asking price
Okay.
because originally it was like
Okay.
490. Yeah, and we offered like 525, 530. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Why did
Mhm.
you offer 40K above asking price? And then how do you know that there are other offers out there that's 100K above asking, 80K above asking? Like, is that information all public?
That information isn't like public, but it's what they told my agent basically, which obviously I trust my agent, but I
Oh,
think, yeah, I don't know why. Like an agent could totally lie about that and try to, obviously because they're all commission based. But I know my
yeah.
agent would never do that, but I guess they can kind of lie about that.
Okay.
But you're right. There's no way to validate that. It was just kind of word of mouth from Seb
Oh.
and he told me that. Yeah. And to answer your first question, from a numbers perspective, that was the highest I can go that
Mhm.
would make sense. Yeah, just because I'm only putting
Gotcha.
5% down. And if I did anything like higher, like I'd just be losing so much more money than I originally planned, which not that I lost a lot of money. Obviously, I'll
Why
make,
didn't you sorry.
sorry, go ahead.
The question I want to ask was, why did you even, like, think to offer above asking price? Like, why couldn't you just offer the asking price?
Oh, to just stand a chance against the other offers. Because when we're doing the offer,
Okay.
obviously we don't know if there's going to be someone over 100, someone 80K over. It was just to stand a chance against any other offers. For me, I was just trying to
Gotcha.
find the right balance between standing a chance against the other offers and staying within my budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then last thing is, what if like could they have lied to your agent? Like I know you said your agent wouldn't lie, but what if they lied to your agent about the 100K over or the 80K over
Yeah,
offers?
that is a good point. They could have totally lied about that for sure. Now that I
But
think
yeah,
about
what if
it.
there was never an offer?
Yeah, but I think they told us that when they were accepting it. But it wasn't like to
Okay.
get yeah, it wasn't like to get more money out of me because I already put my offer in. I wasn't gonna go any higher than that. I think they told us that there was someone that did
Uh-huh.
100K and 80K over once they accepted another offer, just to like I think that's what the agent told my
Gotcha.
agents. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay. So then how much was your interest rate at that point? And then how much did you put down for this property? What percent did you put down for this?
Yep. So this property, I was actually able to do 5% again because I did that
How did you
whole
do that?
like. So there's this thing. If this is kind of like there's a hack, right? Hopefully, I don't get in trouble for this, but a lot of people do this. Technically, you're only supposed to get 5% on your first time home, but I think right
Mhm.
before I bought this thing, some kind of policy changed, and I was able to do 5% again through this loophole where if I
Okay.
move into one of the units of this multi-unit family, then I would be able to present it as like my home. So I had to actually lease out my Morton Grove
Yeah.
home, which on paper it's being rented to Kate for a certain
Mm.
X amount. I'm moving into the multi-unit and I'm basically able to do this 5% because it's my home essentially.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
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 I don't
yeah.
know what that hack is called. I know a lot of people do it.
So what interest rate did you get for this loan?
Interest rate was around 6.25%, which
Mm.
isn't too bad because it's still around that
Sure.
area. I think interest rates right now are around 7, but a lot of the times when you're
Okay.
buying or investing in real estate, you don't really want to focus on interest rate because you can always refinance and bring that back down later. So
Mhm.
that wasn't like my biggest concern. Obviously, it would have been nice to get another like 2 or 3%, but
Mhm.
you don't want to marry the rate. You want to marry
Yeah.
like the investment. So, yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And then to kind of wrap this up, like, you bought your multi-unit, you did a full renovation, you spent about 80 to 90K. You now have two tenants that pay your, that fully cover your mortgage. You fully rented out the first and the second floor unit. How do you feel about your real estate journey so far? I guess you can talk about both the Morton Grove and your Chicago multi-unit, but do you feel like these are the right choices? Like, would you recommend this journey to other people? And like, what is next for you?
Good question. I think how I feel now, I don't know if I made the right choice. I do
Hmm.
know that they were really good learning experiences. And also, I have 2 homes that I own that I could ultimately sell and make my money back.
Yeah.
Overall, I feel like you know, I made the right decisions at the time. I think one thing that I realized about real estate is that it's a really good way to preserve wealth, but it's not a good way to build it. I feel like I
Mm,
haven't made anything out of my real estate ventures, not money that I can
mm,
rely on and like live off of. A lot of the
yeah.
money that I'm living off of is my consulting income. And with real estate, it just isn't enough to live off of. And I don't know how people do it, without like having a lot of money. Which is
Yeah.
like another kind of conclusion that I came to is that real estate is a really good way to preserve your wealth and build your portfolios and your investments. I think maybe if you did more yourself, like if I did like the project myself, like the renovations, I probably would have saved a lot more money. But then I also
Hmm.
look at it as like time is money for
Yeah.
me.
For sure. For sure.
I mean, it was a lot of work right now, and it was a lot of upfront work, and it'll probably pay off later on, like pay more dividends if I hold on to it, maybe like 9 to 10 years, and I'm just cash flowing and I have extra
Yeah.
cash. But as of now, I feel like that money that I spent could have maybe been invested into my consulting business or something else that
Hmm.
could have made me more money or a better cash flow as of now. So I can't
Yeah.
really say that it was a good idea or if it was the right idea, but I don't regret like the path that I took.
For
I don't
sure.
know if that's yeah, that's the right
Yeah.
way to say it. Yeah.
I don't think we'll always like maximize our returns with every decision you make, but learning
Yeah.
is pretty, there's no price you can put on how much you learn and like the experience you got from it. So, yeah, I don't think there's no way you can say that it was a wrong choice,
Yeah.
but at the same time, maybe you also can't quite say it was the right choice, but you learned from it and that's good.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one thing too, originally, like I knew that these were going to be long term investments, but it's
Hmm.
so easy saying that it's a long term investment. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
actually going through it and holding it, that's the real
Yeah.
challenge. Like being able to hold it and survive. Like I can see why so many people fail in real estate because if I didn't have
Yeah.
my consulting business, I wouldn't have been able to do any of this, like pay for
Right,
the
right, right.
renovations, and I probably would have had to do a lot of things myself because
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to afford it, you know? And I think that's what a lot of people do. Like you save a lot of money doing it yourself and then yeah, you make more money in profit if you save. But for me, like I think because I bought like a much older building, the costs were a lot higher than I thought. So
Yeah.
that was definitely one mistake that made, not realizing how much I was actually going to spend on the renovations. I was
Yeah.
very conservative on that estimate or
Mm.
forecast. Yeah, I mean it ended up working out because I'm not bankrupt or anything.
Yeah.
I'm back at a point where like I'm comfortable again and I'm not stressed out
Yeah.
about money. So pretty happy about that. I still
Yeah.
have the basement to do, of course, which is a
Sure.
daunting task. But yeah, no regrets. No regrets.
Yeah, it's like crazy because your one nice door townhome is worth almost the same as your three, older, not as nice multi-unit.
Yes.
But that's like crazy to think about. Your one home is worth like three other people's like families' homes.
Yeah, it
So
is.
just like
I have
puts it to perspective.
it's like 3 doors versus 1, and that 3
Yeah.
doors, yeah, makes more sense to keep it than to sell the 3
Yeah.
doors, I feel like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And the other thing I also realized is like within a single building, whether it's a single family or multifamily, like I realized there's like a general cost that comes with a single building. So it's like if it is a single home, a one door,
Mhm.
that like has like a higher base price versus, still one building, but you build three units out of it. Like it's not like
Yeah,
you're paying 3x the price for it. So that's usually not the case anyway.
exactly, yeah, and if you do it as, like, a per unit or per unit cost, yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely cheaper.
exactly.
Yeah,
The per
for
unit.
sure.
Yeah.
And I guess
So,
that's why a lot of developers like build condos, and there's so much
mm,
development going on in Morton Grove too, and they're just popping up so many townhomes. And I
that's
think
crazy.
that makes sense because townhomes would be better for developers than single family because obviously you can
Yeah.
create more, within the lots that they buy and
Yeah.
sell for more too.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely
Yeah, I think
more profit per lot, I guess, like you
yes,
just said.
exactly per square
Yeah.
foot. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
cool. Yeah, I think that was like it's so interesting to hear your last almost 5 years worth of real estate journey. And I think this is a good time to wrap it up so that because our internet's pretty good right now. So it's just yeah,
Oh
I
my
think
god.
I'm sure myself, but also any other listeners out there who have like a lot of questions. I'm sure they still have a lot of questions, lots of curiosity. So I guess they can definitely reach us through our comments or, DM our Instagram page or any of the other social pages that they saw our podcast on.
Yep. Yeah. I'll reach out in the
Yeah.
DMs if you guys have any additional questions. And thanks for listening, all. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Cool. And thank you for sharing. And we will get back to it next week. Have a good week, Eddie. And yeah, another good chat. Cool. All right. See ya.
See ya.